Hey, welcome to Too Many Gadgets. So today I'm talking about this surveillance camera, which is in the category that does not require for you to draw any wires. So we're closing on the time of the year where many break-ins happen, so it's probably a good time to just quickly evaluate where you are on your own setup in terms of alarm system, cameras, and other stuff that can deter people with bad intentions. And that's why I thought it was interesting when Vacos reached out to me to test a camera, which in many ways looks similar to the specifications of the stuff that I already have or have tested. The thing is with this one, it has a built-in battery, so it's not dependent on you to sort of connect it to your main line on a fixed basis. So you could put it in places where you normally would not or would really struggle to get power to that location, which is really interesting. So let's look at the specifications for this camera. So this is a 1080p camera, which is IP65 rated, which means that it can handle both dust and water without problem. It has motion detection and actually also a very decent two-way audio system, so you can talk to a person standing in front of the camera. It has 16 GB local storage, and there's a cloud option should you need to. The battery is a 6700 milliamp battery. Of course, there is app control to control the camera. To set up the app, I actually had a little bit of difficulty just finding it directly in the App Store. So what I did is I just Googled it, found Vacos homepage, and there they provide a link to the relevant app in either Apple App Store or Android market. So you need to set up an account like we usually always do for these type of devices, and then you just hit the big plus sign and choose the battery camera in the top. We then need to pair the camera with your Wi-Fi network, and doing so, we need to hold the button on the backside of the camera. Then you input the name of the Wi-Fi and the password for that relevant Wi-Fi. That generates a QR code on your device that you can then let the camera scan, and then it connects to the relevant network. Like so. We can then name the camera and start setting the options. And if we just run through some of the quick ones, here you can see the signal strength, which is kind of important if it has a good connection to your network. And here we have some other options, but one of the important ones is power management, where we have an option to see, the stages of the battery. And of course, right now it's fully, it's full. But this is something that you should monitor. It will give you alerts when it's low. And one of the options we can do to sort of define how much power it uses is how often it shoots and for how long. You can of course also set the motion sensitivity and the alarm interval, which is also something that has an impact on how much battery is used. There's an option to set an alert plan, which sort of sets the time period for when you want notifications. And again, recording management, how many seconds are you shooting? Again, has an impact on both capacity and on battery. And like I mentioned, there's a cloud option should you want to. You can connect it to your either Google Home or Amazon Alexa. I haven't done so, but this is an option should you want to do that. So these are examples of clips that my cameras have recorded. So you have an easy way of sort of browsing through whatever incidents there has been, and you can play back. And this is just an example of a night recording. Again, fairly good quality, fairly easy to see, and this is in daylight. You can of course also just stream directly should you want to see what is happening where the camera is sitting, and that's again very decent quality you get there. And again, there's a two-way audio option should you want to. These are the notifications that it can send, and like I mentioned, you get a notification when the battery is starting to become low and you should want to charge. So I got this camera in August and I'm shooting this review in November, so I tested it pretty much out for 3 months. If we just talk about price first, the current listing on Amazon is $50 plus shipping, which for me right now would be like $12, which I think is very fair if you look at what you get. You can definitely get cheaper cameras, but again, not with the option to run directly on built-in battery, which I think is really the feature of this camera compared to the other stuff that I have. The battery life again for me has been around 1.5 months really, and I've tested it both in the summertime, which is fairly okay warm in Denmark, and also now in October, November, which is fairly cold in Denmark. And there wasn't really any much difference in terms of how fast the battery was depleted. I was perhaps expecting that the battery would deplete faster in the cold period, because again, usually batteries don't like it being cold, but it didn't seem to make much difference in this instance. So expect, at least for my test, 1.5 months, with I think it's okay. I would have liked it to be slightly higher. According to their own specifications, it can go up to 6 months. I find that highly unlikely. Again, then it would be at a location where it pretty much never did anything, because then it could just constantly sort of be in this slightly deep sleep mode that it goes into when there's nothing happening. But again, for my test, 1.5 months is pretty much what you should expect. The software on this camera slightly also reflects the price range of this camera. So you do lacks some of the features which you see on more high-end cameras, like setting up a zone within the app for ignoring stuff outside of this zone, which can sometimes be handy if you are looking into your driveway and you know, there are people walking by in some area which you just want to ignore, that it's only like your front door, stuff like that, that you really want to monitor. This is one of the key features that I perhaps would have loved to see in this camera, but it's not available. But again, this is a budget camera, so again, it's okay that you don't see some of these features. But again, just be aware of that. It's super easy to mount. You really have two options. I went with this one, which is you mount a plate into wherever you wanna mount it, and then you sort of screw that into using this. And then you can sort of tilt it and decide which angle you want. The second option you get is using this. The backplate of this camera is magnetic, so you can sort of attach this to whatever surface you want to use, and then using the magnetic mount, it will do the trick for you. But again, for me, this was just the easiest, but this can also do the trick depending on what you want. So my overall thoughts are that this is a good value for money. I'm fairly impressed with, you know, the flexibility it gives you of not having to, you know, run a wire directly to the camera. However, that does also include that you need, and again in my instance, each 1.5 months to go out, take the camera down, charge it, and then put it back up. So if you're looking for like a one and done solution, you know, you should not go in this direction, but find a camera where you have direct power to it. But if you are having the need for filming somewhere where it's very difficult, expensive, or whatever, or perhaps only for a short duration, this is really a good option for you, because it's super fast to set up and then it just works. And the Wi-Fi antenna on it I find to be fairly strong. I tried to put it in the furthest place in my garden, and it's still found okay connection to my my Wi-Fi. And again, I could see it was stronger when I moved it in the final location where I ended up using it. But again, it did actually perform fairly well, even what were we talking about, 30 meters away from the Wi-Fi antenna. And again, remember, this is outdoors and I don't have an outdoor Wi-Fi spot, so it's still, you know, able to connect to my internal antennas, so which is good. So again, $50 each plus shipping. I think that's okay value for money for what you get. So I can recommend this definitely. And if you have any questions to my test or anything else you would like to know, just shoot a comment and I'll try to answer it. See you guys in another video. Bye.